One more. All right. 1, 2, 3. Back in the hot seat, fellas.
Hey.
We are back, week 2.
What
up?
Same day.
Yes, definitely not recorded on the same day.
Weeks
You
later.
can tell I'm changed.
Yeah.
RPG has changed.
I showered.
Yeah, I got a jacket on this time.
Yeah.
It is really cold in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are we looking at? Upper 40s?
Yeah, I think it was 49, something like that.
Most of the people watching this are like, fuck you, bro. It's like 12.
49 degrees.
-2.
We're complaining about it. I know last week when it was really cold then, too, I was shivering uncontrollably as I was trying to talk about Lizzie Borden. You could probably, like, it was like, taking my breath. I was, that was last week, though. But it's still like 49, I think, or 48 maybe.
It's changed 2 degrees all week.
A fucking week later.
It's gotten cold. In the last week, it's dropped 2 degrees.
No, it's bullshit. Florida should act like Florida. It should always be nice here. It's subtropical. Well, that's what people don't know, though. People just think Florida is beautiful all the time, and it isn't. There's real winter here. Like
2 weeks out of the year.
Yeah, we're cold. I'd say 2 months. We had 3 frosts.
The fucking worst part about it is they don't sell clothes. And I know you can buy clothes on Amazon, but when you go shopping here, it's not clothes for fucking 30-degree weather. Like, these socks are single ply, bro. You know what I mean? They're not fucking...
It's even worse down south, bro.
It's even worse down south where it's hotter.
Yeah.
You get a 2-week window, like, around Christmas when you can actually buy, like, long sleeve, like, plaid shirts and, like, maybe some jackets.
Oh, I thought you got that jacket like that because you're a heroin junkie.
Similarly.
Yeah, they give
It only comes through town once a year. I'm buying that plaid jacket.
You were amazing in train spotting.
Yeah, you got...
Train hopped a couple times.
How many Suboxone points did you have to turn in to get that jacket, bro?
47!
Not enough.
Not enough. So, hey, guys, Paul has this new soundboard effect, and we're thinking about using it for the song at the beginning of the show every week because we absolutely love it. If y'all want to comment below and tell us if we should keep it or not, keep using it. The sound effect board will change periodically. But I guess go ahead and let it rip, Paul. Let's hear it, man. I love it.
And if you choose the $30 subscription, you get...
Silence, wench. I do not wish to be horny anymore. I just want to be happy.
I think that's the ticket, bro.
That is a man who's got all of his ducks in a row right there. I don't even want to be horny anymore. I just want to be happy.
Well, how successful would we be, though, if we spent no time pursuing sex?
Happiness?
No, we'd all be millionaires. Men and women alike. All of us. Everyone.
Do you think it's such a big struggle for women, though?
No.
I was making it more like it's a distraction for us.
Well, that's what I mean. Do you think it's like a distraction for women that they let it get involved in their careers and ruin their lives and shit like men do? Because
I think to some degree
sure.
it has to be.
Yeah.
I think the problem is there's a lot of men next to those women, so I mean, that's what the man's trying to do. The woman just is there and happens to be a part of that.
This is the Paranormal View. Welcome.
yeah, it's like we're on The View. I really like how that's turning out just like that. We can say outrageous shit too now.
Yeah,
isn't Whoopi on The View?
Something like that.
Yeah. You get to be Whoopi, Bigfoot.
I like to make whoopee.
Joey, how are you eating with these sounds?
Yeah, he's
He does it. I look in the pot and I'm like, oh.
I'm over here getting raccoon shit for food, and this motherfucker's eating fucking
beef stroganoff.
beef stroganoff.
Same
Loving
above
life
as
right now.
below.
Fucking 10 of us. How many did you bring? He's like, I got one.
By the way, Mountain House, if you'd like to sponsor us.
Adventure meals. As you're going on an adventure, so did you feel this was an adventure? Like, how was the ride down?
I can't comment on the ride down, but
the ride down, anytime you're riding with Bigfoot drives like shit, bro.
It's questionable if you're gonna arrive.
Oh my god. Like for real.
I don't think any of y'all have gone anywhere and not arrived.
We have, but like there's been totes fall out in West Virginia. On the way down here. I see you drive through the McDonald's parking lot, not park, pull out on a one-way street to go the wrong way down it to get back in the parking lot to then pull into the first spot that was there.
Yeah,
I was like, we're all going to jail, dude.
I wasn't sure that McDonald's was what I really wanted to eat at that point, and then I realized that's all that they had there.
And then once we made it in McDonald's, Stacy overflowed the urinal.
I did not overflow the urinal. That was you. Oh my god! So this actually happened. I've never been part of clogging a urinal, but to my defense, there was a high water level in the urinal. It was clear, right? And I was like, they just got high water levels, so, you know.
Let me add to that.
Yeah, I added to that. And then I flushed, and I'm washing my hands, and this dude comes in like Crocs, right? And he was like, oh my god, it's a fucking flood. And I look down and there's piss and water all over the floor. The damn urinal is just piling out. So then I get back into the lobby and I'm like, Joey, you know, did that damn urinal flush? Did you flush the urinal when you was in there? You know, because it was like one of them cup urinals.
Oh.
Right? It wasn't just like the flat wall thing that goes down. No, it was like the cup.
Shapely.
All right, I hold a whole gallon, probably, right? Or I don't know, close to it.
Shapely.
And before you got to it, it's already almost full. You're like, you know what? I think I got this.
No, I just flushed it, and then but I'd never seen that before. I wonder what would have been in there. You know?
Ugh.
Like, how do you clog a urinal?
Paper towel.
Those urinal cakes, maybe pieces of it and shit. Are people throwing trash in?
I've seen people shit in urinals, so there's no telling what's in there.
Jesus.
I mean, you guys are the ones who caused it, so I mean, you should be able to tell us what you did.
No, there's no you guys. It's Stacy.
No, it wasn't me. I just brought it to your attention in the lobby in front of everyone.
If Urinal Cakes would like to sponsor us.
Yeah, we get some of them mint chocolate chip urinal cakes.
We need sponge cakes, though. You need something that's going to absorb the extra.
Oh my god, why are we talking about urinals?
We went down the toilet bowl.
So I think, what were we going to talk about today? Anybody have something they wanted to share? Was there anything?
Yeah. I've got an interesting story. I don't know. It's just one of those deep dives where it really intrigued me, and I wanted to throw a question out to you at the end, see if you had heard it before. But St. Michael's Mount, it's kind of a famous place in England. You may have heard of it. The story, the folklore around it, is that an 18-foot giant, and I know we all like the giant thing. I love that. Ties into the Bigfoot, ties into everything. But an 18-foot giant was crossing to the mainland, getting the granite to build the original structure on this island. And if you see this place, it's like, from a military perspective, it's perfect because the tide comes in and you basically have a giant moat. Tide goes out and you have barely a walkway across. Anyway, so this giant is living on this island, building this castle for himself, and he's raiding the villages at night and taking livestock, people. So they decide, fuck this giant. We got to do something about it. So who do they hire? Someone named Jack. And Jack, using a horn, lures this 18-foot giant into a well in which he falls in, and then he's actually able to kill it with, I believe it was a pickaxe. So what's interesting is if you go back, as you guys know in your deep dives, there's just all these stories about giants, but it's not really talked about mainstream, Like, what the fuck is the Smithsonian really doing is what I want to know. Are all those really dinosaur bones? But anyway, so that's the folklore around it. That's where we get Jack and the Beanstalk, which is something we all grew
That's
up
what
with.
I thought she was going with.
Right.
I was like, this motherfucker is telling us Jack and the Beanstalk, right?
But it is 100%. That's where we get it from. But, so now cut to about 300 years ago, And just like with all these old buildings, we build on the foundations of the past, and that's what we've done with all of our architecture. So they've built on previous churches, and God knows what else, a giant's house. And about 300 years ago, they found a secret entrance, which, that's for all of us that were into Indiana Jones and stuff. Like, that's exciting. Like, whoa. And when they went down into this room, it was a very small room, and they found a skeleton in there of a giant. And now, once again, everything's murky. You dive on it, people come. But generally, they say this person was like 7'8", 800. I mean, 7'8", to 8 foot, somewhere in there. So if you go back in time to, when Romans were badass and shit, the average height was like 5'4", 5'6" for men. So, and then you have this 7'8" individual. So anyway, so they find a real giant in there. But then as I went deeper, what was really fascinating and really touched my fancy is, so what they believe it was that there are these religious relics or hermits that they called anchorites. And what anchorites were, so basically back in the day, if you were born with a disorder where you were completely covered in hair and looked like a wolf, you could become a religious zealot and basically live in the churches. And they had special rooms where the public wouldn't see you, so they wouldn't see the freak or whatever you want to. But they could watch mass from behind hidden slots in the walls. So imagine back in the day where, witchcraft, like all people believe in whatever, and you're a giant. You're literally walking around, and the closest person to you is 2 feet smaller than you. And then I thought, right, so then you cut to the 16th century, and all of a sudden they start to move away from anchorites and anchoresses and anchorites, and there's all different ways to say it. So what happened to these people? What happened to these outsiders that had all these natural biological oddities to them that made them special? Where did they all go? Because suddenly it was like they released the mental institutions. So my thought was, but the churches and organizations, they're not stupid. You waste no part of the buffalo. So what if, and here's my theory, what if Bigfoot and the wild people of the worlds in the woods, what if they are just from a lineage of anchorites, religious zealots that were basically given enough structure and enough support to be survivable, and then they went off to these places of the world where nobody else can go, the swamps in the center of it, because it's the only place they get away from everyone, and they've been thriving and breeding, which is why you have such a diverse species, and like people are seeing wolfmen, people are seeing Bigfoot, people are seeing little people. It's because all of them kind of live out there together. Does that make sense?
Not really.
So, like, it sounds familiar from our trip to Nebraska with Barry and Derek, and
Red Squadron,
where they were talking about the Bigfoot is a descendant of was it Cain?
Yeah.
So with that religious zealot, same concept.
Well, because it would give that person the ability to endure like a life of loneliness and seclusion, like all the things we attribute to Bigfoot and these things that stay away from us, the Gulan, whatever, these people would have. They would basically have training to stay away, and to stay hidden, and to like it, and to crave it. And plus, they don't need anyone. They have God. Now, what if you have a group or what if you had 100 of people like that? Maybe only 10 could breed. What are their children like? Maybe their children walk among us, but they're in the woods. Like, I don't know. It just got me thinking. I was like, wow, there's so many ways you could go with this. The anchorites,
The only thing that I think that would make it not true is all the reports about all the weird stuff. The orbs, the mind speak, right? Telepathy.
Yeah.
Those types of instances.
But bear with me, right?
Uh-huh.
We're talking about a group of people that would have been considered oracles back in the day because, yes, they could memorize the entire Bible in one sitting. Or what if some of them they could start fires with their mind? Like, we're talking, and what if those people kept breeding and those powers got more powerful to where you could actually have telekinesis power? I'm just saying that there's a possibility.
Yeah. Well, it would make sense.
There are a ton of Superman running around the building here as well. So like a land of superheroes. But we'd be, I mean, because I fit into that. I heard him saying earlier, Bigfoot in there. So like Bigfoot Superman or
is this group led by a guy in a wheelchair?
Right.
Xavier?
Oh wow, that took me a second. I was like, "Whoa, like what is that? Why are you saying that, dude?"
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, that cool.
Well, it's like, but where did they go? Like, where did pirates go? They're fishermen now. They're fishermen.
No, they're not. They're still pirates, bro.
Oh, that's true.
They're still pirates. So.
Pirates go from pirating to being fishermen. All of a sudden, they're like, "Hey, I think I'll just fish now."
My daughter actually asked me, "Pirates were real?" And I was like, "Baby, there's still pirates today.
Yeah.
Somalian pirates." I think they're scarier than they ever have been now.
I'm the captain now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got machine guns now, so...
Yeah.
They're not cool, though. They don't have peg legs.
Oh, dude, but they do look like they're starving, bro. Like, some of them, have you seen them? Their eyes are sunk in, and they're looking at you. It's like, oh, shit. Walking Dead done popped up here on me. But, yeah, man. I don't know. So, an Adam and Eve Bigfoot story, right? Is that basically what we just heard?
No, I just thought, what?
I think a Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah, I think it was just
It's a creation story, though.
It sounded like a
It's a
bunch of
possible
rambling.
creation story for some of the things people are seeing out in the world. I'm just saying
Right.
it's really interesting. This is a unique way, because what happened to all these people? If they suddenly just were done hiding these people in churches, where did the people that were different go? And maybe they just died out. Maybe they just, we fucking said, "You're weird, you're dead."
Well, so what do you think? I guess a better question would be, what do you think Bigfoot is? Like, this question gets asked a lot.
Well, right now,
Yeah,
I just
right
read
now.
that theory. I'm hot for that theory.
Are you really?
I think because there are certain things. They believe that you can go through de-evolution. So instead of evolving forward, if you were put into the right state or right circumstances, or just had the fucking will to do it, you could actually regress back and grow all your hair out and take on this Neanderthal-like build, especially if it's in your genes. If that's true, who would have a better chance of doing that than someone that already is naturally doing it, like was born with this disorder where they're actually like becoming more ape-like and stuff? And I know it's very rare, but what happens when those people can come together and breed? Like, why can't they? Are they all mules? They can't breed?
Right.
And why would we just assume that? If anything, I would assume they could have a better chance of just having a quote unquote normal child. I don't know.
See, like, half of me wants to think that Bigfoot is just a regular primate, undiscovered primate. And like your point, there's a lot of weird shit that goes on. Like,
A lot.
do you know how many times my equipment's went dead? How many times we seen a light last night? In the spot we're always seeing lights. And then it just, when you're left with it, it's like, okay, is Bigfoot just here and these weird shit are happening? Because I guess because the weird shit's happening doesn't mean it has to be Bigfoot that's doing it.
No.
Because I could just as easily blame it on the deer population there. Be like,
that's interesting.
the deers are the orb because the deers are there as well. You can't make that connection, but there's weird shit going on in the forest. And I know both of them are real, right?
Well, that's debatable.
No. To me, they're real.
To you, yeah.
To me, they're real. To somebody that's not seen one or seen the lights, it's that deal right there. But if they're both real, is there the connection? That's where I struggle with it, because I go back and forth. I'm like, man, this has got to be a primate. I want it to be a primate so we can discover it.
Sure, yeah.
Because if it's not a fucking primate,
But it could be more than one thing.
all we do is get to experience it. If this thing can shift and blend and do all that, I like blending better than cloaking. It sounds a little,
I could probably
better.
say that it's more likely a blending, camouflaging type of thing. I mean, I've seen the hairs. I collected the hairs that we found in Mayaka that one weekend. It looks like it's red hair to the naked eye. You put it under a microscope, it goes from clear to green to tan to black to brown to red.
Chameleon-like.
Exactly. So
Could change whatever it wants through the hair follicle.
like chromatophores, correct.
Okay. So as a skeptic,
that.
as a skeptic, how crazy does that sound? to you that maybe is that something that's out of the realm of possibility that something could change its hair color?
I mean, you have like the cuttlefish, right? The cuttlefish can change the color of its. I don't know if it's its skin or its flesh or whatever. So
the cuttlefish.
The panther chameleon changes its colors as well.
Yeah.
To just about every color of the rainbow.
Yeah, but I mean, nothing with hair though.
No, but I mean, it's possible for something to do that.
Right.
We haven't seen it in hair that I know of, but
is it in mammals?
The only mammal on the planet that has similar hair or any sort of clear hair is the polar bear, which obviously if that hair was found in Florida, how is that explainable?
We've got 3 or 4 polar bear here. And
well, the polar bear, what's that change from like white to like white soaked in urine?
It's like a yellowish color. It's like the white to I've been pissed
clear.
all over.
It's translucent, yeah.
Mainly translucent.
well, I mean,
It's solar. Their skin is black, and so it pulls the light, and then so it absorbs it and holds it.
That's why when they
it's
start
covered in-
losing their hair, they start to look darker, actually.
Oh, okay.
You ever seen one that's like too far south of the global warming crisis?
What?
Yeah.
Whoops.
That's too far south. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They start to like get all patchy, and they sometimes get mistaken for like grizzly bears with mange type of deal.
Oh wow!
And that's simply because the polar bear is not used to the fleas and ticks that you have down here in Florida.
So the polar bear would die just because of the heat down here.
Oh yeah, 100%. They can't survive.
Lose all their weight, die out.
Emaciated.
so like
Flacca bear.
a squid, right?
Right.
Right. We've all seen squid. If you kill a squid, it like flashes colors and then it dies and it stays a certain color, right? So what if you applied that same concept to something with hair, it could change the colors when it's still alive, but when it dies, you remove the hair from it. It's no longer controlled by something. It has to go to a default state.
Right.
So maybe that's the multicolored hair.
I mean, you consider the concept of the human hair. Human hair changes color.
Yeah, when you buy those little boxes from Walmart.
Well, that and
Stacy's beard.
as you get older, like when you were young and strapping over there, your beard was mostly more of a reddish color.
I wouldn't say red. I'm not a ginger. My
Well, you
face
sure
is not-
you sure aren't a gray-headed Santa Claus either, bud. That wasn't an original.
Bad Santa.
That wasn't an original. That little bit of silver that's hanging out down there.
I would almost say that.
a lot.
Imagine.
Yeah, it's like half of it.
Yeah.
I got 50%.
Imagine if we had no distractions whatsoever and we just used our intellect to dial in our bodies, right? Like people play around with it, but really
You're not dialing in my body, buddy.
Well, yeah, no.
I'll be dialing in that body tonight.
But we know, if you match the vibrational level of something, you can cancel it out, or you can at least play with it, and manipulate it. What if, because of their large frame, they're able to use infrasound, and they're able to affect people enough to where they appear to be blurred out, but just to us, where they're not actually. Or they can use it to affect your equipment because they can kind of hear it. They can match the frequency,
Right.
And that's just one of their skill sets to remain elusive. I don't know. I just like to believe that they're super fucking smart in a way we're not.
I have 2 things to say to what you just said.
Okay.
So
I only have one. Yes, we are super smart in comparison to you folks.
So one of them being, I have an interesting theory about colorblind people. And I wonder if colorblind
Racist.
You're an Iist.
Hey, I actually am. I'm blind in my left eye, so I am an Iist, single one.
Damn it! Now I feel bad.
And he
for both.
drove down here. That's why when he went to McDonald's, that lady reached out for his car and he's like,
I tried to enter the money.
So what if somebody who's colorblind,
Yeah.
because their brain perceives the color frequency that's coming through the cones in their eyes, right?
Yeah.
That's really what it boils down to.
You got bad eye cones.
Yeah. So what if that actually puts you in a strategic position to be able to see paranormal things better?
Yeah.
Because you're not actually perceiving the same world the same way. Because it really comes down to colorblind as being how your brain sees color.
Right.
So maybe you're actually, if you're, because you're colorblind, right, Stacey?
Right.
And his brain don't work right.
Maybe
Right.
that's why.
True story.
Maybe that's why you seen what you seen. Maybe that's why you seen that lady that you talked about in the last episode.
How would
no
we
one
test
else
that?
did.
How would we test that?
Well, everybody who's seeing
have to see
paranormal
it.
activities should be partially colorblind.
Well,
if
but
not
I've
full
seen
on.
it. I've seen it with other people who weren't. Like not the ghost, but like the lights.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe they were colorblind. They're just embarrassed.
Maybe. Well, there's a bunch of different colorblind's, anyways. There's like.
Have you ever seen a colorblind ghost?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Just the one ghost, maybe.
Ghosts don't see color.
But you know, hey, what that whole experience, I left from that seeing that ghost. It was that it looked so real. How many people that I see every single day are dead?
Ooh, that's interesting. That's really
You know
interesting.
what I mean? When you're going out to the mall and walking around and shit, say 10 of those people out of that 1,000, they ain't with us, bro. I mean, they with us, but they ain't, you know.
And just random people are seeing them.
Yeah, well, you can interact with it and everything else, and it'd walk off, and you wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known no different. She could have come over and talked to me, and I'd have been like, yeah, whatever.
You're trying to mic her up.
Yeah, really.
Hey, why ain't you wearing a microphone,
Shit keeps
bitch?
falling to the floor. What the fuck?
Put on your microphone, bitch.
We're playing games now, goddammit.
I'm tired of this shit.
So the
I just want to be happy.
So the other question I have is,
I don't wanna
mainly
be
for you
horny no
guys,
more.
Right? You guys who have experience editing and dealing with photography and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right? Is it possible to put a setting, let's just say, let's just call it a chip, right? Could the government be putting chips into all the cameras, like the cameras that we're filming this with right now, that would inhibit you from seeing light of a certain spectrum, and that your camera would never pick it up properly?
So the argument I would have against that is you can use film, right? So you could ignore digital cameras altogether, take the electronics out of it, and you still have a chemical process that you can capture an image with.
Yep.
And you can, based on that chemical process, you can determine what part of the spectrum of light this film is picking up. Because you can do infrared film, you can do visible spectrum, you can do
Triple X.
pan-chromatic, like all kinds of different stuff. So you can actually,
I don't know.
I would say no, because you can eliminate that and still capture an image with certain wavelengths.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because I heard through the grapevine that that's a circulating possible theory that the government is putting chips into cameras that are stopping us from being able to film cryptids and things properly, and that's why we're all on the internet looking at these blurry photographs.
They also put raisins in cookies, which made us stop.
Well, no. So anybody who captures a picture of Bigfoot, it's always pixelated.
Because there's some sort of chip or something that's patented by the U.S. government, even though
That
these
makes
cameras-
them a bad photographer.
It's just that I'm too quick. I'm very fast.
But yeah, that's kind of the theory that I heard recently. And I thought that was interesting because most of these cameras are actually manufactured in Japan, where the U.S. government has no jurisdiction. And,
Yeah, right.
So how is there a
Yeah, right.
how is there hey, allegedly, right?
Allegedly.
But, how are they putting U.S. government patented chips in Japanese manufacturers?
Is someone breathing really heavy?
No, that's just a fire.
It's Josh.
It could be Joe.
Oh, like
Bigfoot,
all of a
I'm sorry.
sudden I'm like, am I getting horny for no reason? Like, what's happening? Am I about to get something?
I do
So
have
how
a
does
very
that sound to
sexy
you,
huff.
Stacey?
Huh?
You use these cameras for years now. Does that sound like something that's possible to you?
I don't know. I would be interested to see if the paranoia exists in film photos versus digital. Right.
Which we've been working on some experiments to do with that hopefully
Right.
we can get done.
Yeah, because like Wayne, my buddy Wayne Wilson, he goes out and takes these photos, and like you see some of them, like the Bigfoot with a bag of fast food, the Bigfoot with an erection,
That's my favorite.
yeah, the Birdman,
Anubis.
Yeah, Anubis. When you think about it, it sounds insane, bro. Like, and then you'll see what he's looking at. But the only thing that weirds me out with him is he sees the stuff before he takes a picture of it.
Is he colorblind?
That I don't know, but he will look out and he'll be like, "Oh, it's right there," and then he'll take the picture, and then that face is in there. How the hell does he do that? Right?
Yeah, he's very good at the photos that he's got are good photos sometimes.
Really?
They're the blurry things, you know what I mean? But I'm just wondering.
Retard alert!
I'm worried that if you took it with a film camera,
Yeah.
would it be would those faces still be there and shit? You know what I mean?
You got to give him a film camera. You got to do that. That's great.
You know,
I suppose that testing this would also kind of test the best Bigfoot footage of all time, right?
the Patterson film?
That was shot on film.
That was shot on what, 13 millimeter, something like that.
No.
Probably 8mm or 16.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was 16.
I want to say it was a teen. That's why I threw 13 out.
Yeah, I've been wanting to. I think that footage is fake, bro. Like, what do you think?
I knew a dude, and this is all hearsay, but I worked with a guy a couple years ago that interviewed the man that made the suit. So
Right.
I'm convinced it's bullshit, and this guy had no reason to.
Well, there's
No reason to lie to me about it.
There's a rumor, which I've been trying to track down for a few years, that the suit is here in Tampa.
Really?
Yeah, a lawyer owns it, bought it at an estate sale, and he has it. And he's just sitting on it, but it's the suit. It's not the Philip Morris costume. It's the suit, right? Like the horsehide suit that Bob Hieronymus talks about, I guess.
Huh.
But I know you think it's real, and I'm pretty sure y'all all think
Well,
it's
I don't
real,
necessarily think it's real, but I am willing to look at the facts from both sides, right? Because I still do question how they made that suit look so good for the time when that technology, like Bob Munz's argument, right? Where he talks about like that technology to make the suits that way, to have that type of mobility, did not exist back then in those times. So like, I kind of wish we had a time machine on this one and we can go back and actually fact check that
Right.
and see if they really had it or not. Like, were they really playing with silicon or not? You know what I mean? Like, if we want to sit here and think where we're at right now in 2023, we're dealing with such crazy technology right now. So, like, would the technology that we have for suit making be, like, experimental stuff that somebody could have come up with back then?
And just be better now.
But now it's just perfected. Exactly. So is it possible that there's a Bigfoot in there? Sure. I sure hope so. It looked very similar to what I seen as a kid.
Right.
But other than, the male versus female anatomy. But, like...
You definitely know when you see a male Bigfoot.
Okay.
we be swinging.
Okay.
We be swinging.
Is that a red rocket or?
It's a little more of a big brown rocket, but
I heard you were more like gorillas, so like big body, little pee-pee.
well,
But big nuts.
you'll find
Huge balls.
you may be able to find out later.
Oh god.
Oh, jeez.
See, I'm like you, like I want it to be flesh and bone and real,
Right.
but I'm completely open to it being bullshit. Having just kind of researched and done a deep dive on the whole story and just who Roger was from a family of tumblers and stunt artists. Like he literally championship rodeo guy, boxer, shooter, fucking literally like the most greatest unknown legend of our country, arguably, but also a snake oil salesman of sorts, and crafty, and needing to survive. And I don't know, just if anybody could do it in the suit, he could have done it. He could have done that. They say you couldn't do it over this in these conditions. I'm saying that motherfucker was so badass, he or Bob could have done it at that age when they did it.
Right.
So that's why I'm open to it being literally like, how come none of us have beat them then yet? Like, why don't we go? You know the guy that made the suit? How much? How much? Let's Patreon that motherfucker. We'll build it. Let's build it. Let's redo it.
Oh, so I got a costume guy here in Tampa that he said he can build the suit using the technology back then for $2,500.
Oh, that's not bad.
We raised that.
It's not bad at all. And then
Kickstart it.
there's not really been a recreation done of it. And you look at the things like Bob drew Patty 2 years before he filmed her. The arm movement, it only goes a certain, like the from the elbow to the wrist is not out of the realm of possibility. If you had like shoulder pads on or something, you could have had your hands in here and had the damn hands to where you could have curled them or something like that. I don't know, but like, I just think it deserves a good recreation. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I would have taken like the actual meat and sewed it to the inside. So you had so if you saw it press against the suit, you're seeing the real muscle of a large animal. So the suit itself would be heavy enough to help me through that terrain. And I'm jacked and strong and tumbler enough to like pull it off, That's how I would approach it, knowing no idea how to build a suit of that caliber.
It sounds like Lady Gaga's meat dress.
Yeah, but on the inside, right? Like on the inside. I don't know. But that would be super cool. Anybody that would not be interested in seeing that and seeing like if it could really be done, because we can talk about this for years. $2,500 is all it costs.
To do that, and then you have to travel to California to film it. You got to get the camera, and then you got to get some film and get it developed.
But maybe you don't even have to go to California. If the suit is that on and we just shoot it from the same distance, that we can line that up down here.
Hey, like Leroy Blevins, look him up. He's big into JFK and a bunch of other shit. He's passed away now, but he made a suit, and it fucking looks close, bro.
Yeah?
Like, it looks close. And I think, even though that was a good camera for back then, that he did write a bad check for, I think we're seeing we don't have enough detail to be like, oh, you could see the muscle movement and shit like that. I think you're seeing a lot of noise, a lot of stuff added in.
They've cleaned it up pretty good.
Right? They have,
but it's still nothing what it would be if we had access to the original copy that just mysteriously disappeared.
Well, no, from what I understand, there's a copy that's like the second one, and so it's like the best one you can get. This is what Bill told me, and he says you can see all the things in that, but what we're seeing is like a 15th generation copy on the internet. We're not seeing, the actual fucking little negatives right there to get to look at and stuff. So I think so. It's give it a shot.
It's pretty close to what. That second copy should be pretty close
to what the original was. I mean, you're not gonna get better, obviously. But then there's the whole like if you want to like license that footage, it's like $15,000,
$20,000,
$20,000 now. Wow, last time I checked, it was 15.
Yep. End result: it is a suit. My people are built a little bit different.
Okay, well, and there's other things that like we know about Bigfoots. They don't walk out in the damn open, bro.
No, they don't.
Yeah, but if they spin that story, though, everything lined up perfect. From the creek being the way it was, they were downwind, the water movement, they were blocked from view. Like, if you buy the story, it was perfect. They were out remote enough, there long enough, in their delirious phase, tying back to last episode, where they were exhausted. If the story's true, they had been pushing it, they were almost done, they were fighting with each other, they're not, they were in the zone, and they saw.
The camera can't go dead then. You have to wind it up, right? To make that camera run. It's some old... Yeah. He's got to wind it, I believe, while he's filming it. Yeah. You can't make that camera go dead. The shot, it's not blurry. It's just old-ass film,
Do we know what kind of camera it was shot on?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that camera's like $700. Dude, I've looked into all this. I've been wanting to do this for years now. And just, put it to rest because I'll believe it. If I can't do it, I'll believe it. You know what I mean? But I think it can be done. I think you can make one that's like, all right, dude, listen, told y'all. You should have looked at this shit. Because there's so many red flags. Like, okay, so just hypothetically, me and you go out in the woods and film a Sasquatch, okay? In 1967, you know what you just filmed and you know that it's real. Me and you get into an argument or something. Would you sell your rights to the footage?
Fuck no.
For $100?
Hell no.
Even if I did the most fucked up thing you can think of, that would just disrespect you and be like, man, fuck this guy. Would you sell your rights? Because Bob Gimlin sold his rights to the film.
I know what I got.
But even in that time, for only $100.
Yeah, $100.
It wasn't $100 like 10 grand back then?
No, I think it was $10, and it's worth about what $100 would be today.
It might as well have been 10 cents for what that shit should be worth.
So the official explanation from him is that they were catching shit from his wife was catching shit working at the bank. People were like, "Oh, your husband's lying, yada yada yada," and that made him just wash his hands of it. But he couldn't wash your hands of it anyways.
Yeah, but he was able to, over time, it faded because he stayed completely out of it. Because remember, they went on the road, they filled up the stadium.
They did.
Yeah, but
what would make you want to, do you buy that?
I only buy it because knowing he's such like an old-fashioned cowboy in a way that maybe to him it would be honorable and it was more important to protect his wife, which we would all protect our significant others over it. So I'm in the gray on that. But I hear what you're saying. Like, to us, no, we wouldn't get rid of it. It's the greatest thing of all time.
And I think that's...
But to him, he didn't give a shit. That guy had a life outside of it. He literally was just helping a buddy out.
Yeah, but that's why I asked him. Because he's the skeptic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To me, I wouldn't get rid of it.
Right.
But that's also because I'm biased, But yeah, you know what you got. Is it possible, just throwing this out here, you think Bob could have found out it was fake?
That's what it sounds like.
And got pissed and got rid of it? Because, dude, they're still making money off that fucking piece of footage. Yearly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to replay the footage. They got royalties coming in from that shit.
So here's my, counter argument to that. If that was the reason... Right? Why would he continue to participate at all these festivals, all these movies, all these everything, and tell the fact that it's true? Because at some point, you would have broken and be like, you know what? F that. F him. He hoaxed me. I'm blowing it out of the water, but someone's going to have to pay me real big for the story. Sure. But I'm letting it all hang out that it was hoaxed.
That's the thing. Do you want to... spend all those years telling this story, then all of a sudden you're just a liar? No matter how you look at it from then on, every single person that meets that man, you're a fucking liar, bro.
But the one difference now is the world's different, and his wife is no longer in danger.
Right, and he hasn't been telling the story forever. He only started, I think, mid-2000s, starting to hit the circuits again, or maybe early 2000s, and finally him making some money.
And he was coaxed back out by literally explaining to him that it's time now. It's time. You can tell your story.
That brought him out?
I thought it was Yammers.
It was Yammers,
yeah,
I think.
But he was part of the people just trying to say, hey, man, the world's different now. Come check it out. And they took him to a conference or something, and he just kind of watched. And he was like, oh. Because if what he's saying is true, that was a different time. You come out and say, I saw Bigfoot. It's literally like, should we hang that dude? That dude's crazy. You know what I mean? And that, all he had was his honor. I mean, he's an honorable motherfucker.
Dude, if you ever met him, the guy's straight up, dude. He's one of the most wonderful people to be around. He was so nice to me and my girlfriend. Mm-hmm. And he didn't fucking know us from Adam's house cat. But, we go out and that's the thing about Bob. He's a ladies' man. Mm. Yeah, he's out there. Me and Russell Cord, we get to go out. We taking him out to dinner, and he's over there with women the whole time. I don't even get 5 seconds with Bob, but he's over there just chatting a storm up my old lady and shit. Yeah. I'm like, look at this dude right here. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just a great guy, and you would not want to think that this man was lying about all this.
Yeah.
But it's almost like The fact that he got away from it and then came back to it, it's almost like the Rick Doty shit. Rick Doty was hired by the government, or his job for the government was to tell all these UFO people they were crazy and add bullshit to the story. And then he's like, okay, hey, I don't work for him no more. Now I'm telling the truth.
Well, that's
not that he was lying.
Well, that's my thing. I personally I think that this is just my opinion. If he is the honorable man, I've never met him. He seems like a great guy. Would he be somebody who would be like, you know what? It's time to tell the truth, because you know what? Like, it's different times now. People aren't going to try and lynch me. It is what it is. And like, if he's an honorable man, he would do that, right? So the fact that he hasn't puts validity to the fact that maybe it is real.
It's the major hang up for me, because like, if you look at Roger Patterson is basically Rick Dyer. He's full of shit. Like, every bit about him, he's full of shit. But then you got Bob, who's not.
Which is perfect for the equation. But I think Roger was smart enough to go, we need someone, if it's fake, involved in this that has no idea. And we need someone that people would trust, because they wouldn't trust me. I think he was self-aware enough. I think he was smart enough to put together the greatest paranormal heist of all time, if it's untrue.
But on the other hand, if you tell a lie enough times, it becomes true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, hey, you over time, if you remember all the details, but see, that's the thing. Some of Bob's details have switched. Like, I got a 2010 interview with him saying I didn't work the camera. I never touched the camera. That was Roger's thing. And then fast forward to watch the movie, and right before the Patty scene happens, you see Roger coming around the corner with the horses and stuff. Somebody's filming them.
Yeah, someone's holding the camera. It's only the two of them there.
It's supposed to be only two of them, and then they pan off. Like, they know what they're doing with the damn camera into the trees, and then it comes back. That right there, it's like you don't see Bob. So
you know who
now,
it was.
because but now that he's older, did he misspeak? Did he forget? Did he, Joe Biden that shit? Because he's a little older, you could be forgetful.
I do want to point
hard.
this out, that this happened in 1967, right?
Yeah.
During the UFO flap in West Virginia, during the Mothman.
Yeah.
And all these weird things that are like the most prolific cases of our time that we're still trying to crack, all happened in the same time period.
Yep, you have the hippie movement, Black Power movement. There was a lot of zeitgeist like moving through all sorts of crazy shit.
Right around Vietnam.
There's a turning point. We were supposed to become enlightened, and instead, here we are.
Isn't that also supposedly the same around time that JFK died?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I think we went to the moon. There's a bunch of hope.
Kubrick.
And the Gulf of Tonkin.
Kubrick went to the moon.
Yeah, Kubrick went to the moon. Thank you.
Maybe Kubrick was filming.
Hey.
I think. All of a sudden, I'm dead.
It's interesting food for thought, because maybe at that moment in time, something happened. Maybe we switched into a timeline where these things suddenly really do exist.
When was Philadelphia experiment? When was all that shit? Where they literally reality?
I was just listening to something on that the other day. It's right there around the same time, I think. No, the Philadelphia experiment, I want to say it was like 47.
Okay, yeah, I don't know the date, but anyway.
It's an interesting food for thought.
Yeah.
Because all Mothman. Let's see. Mothman for sure happened then. The Indrid cold case happened then.
Yep.
Well, I should say the most major one, because there was other sightings as well. But Patty.
Mm-hmm.
What else can we name that happened around that same time?
Y'all know when was Loch Ness?
Yeah, when was the first sighting of Loch Ness? Because that looks like an old film.
Yeah. I think that was a hoax.
Yeah, not for nothing. You're probably looking right around the same era.
Yeah, we're just sitting here not knowing our facts. Cryptozoologists, guys.
Everything.
We don't know what the hell we talk about.
Every single item takes place the same time. Like one afternoon was Patty,
Hey,
the next afternoon was the Loch Ness.
Could it be something like with the Bridgewater Triangle? Because like now the Bridgewater Triangle's not really thought of as an active spot anymore. It was more like a UFO flap where you had a bunch of shit in a little bit of time. So could it have been something like that? Maybe they just encompassed the whole world.
Right.
You know, all kinds of weird shit everywhere. But who knows, man?
60s were a roaring time, man.
Yeah, they were. Hell of a time to be alive. I just want to be alive in one of those times again.
Loch Ness was 1933.
33, that's right, because Aleister Crowley, he gives himself credit with bringing
That's right.
Nessie in.
He was doing that
ritual right there on the house. I'd love to buy that fucking house. Have you seen it?
It's a nice
They
house.
burned it down like several times. They keep trying to raise money to build it back, and then somebody comes and burns the fucker down again.
Don't mess with
He
evil.
was traveling around all sorts of places doing stuff. He went to Egypt too.
Yeah, he ate human feces.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
I've tried that a few times.
he was a man ahead of his time, I guess.
Bigfoot's eating the human feces.
Hey, you gotta
Strange
eat-
fact, though.
You gotta eat
Drink
what you
your own
gotta eat.
urine, and you're gonna feel great.
Why?
All I know is that first thing in the morning, you get up, you pee, you drink that shit, and you will feel like you are like
About to throw up.
no, like you're on speed, like you're ready to go, and you feel alert. And dude, look up urine therapy, man. It's a real thing.
Is that what you've been drinking in that mason jar?
Hey, listen, everybody listening, and you folks right here, do not wake up and drink your urine tomorrow morning.
And
Come on.
urine therapy. Look into it.
I think that is all for us this week. Same bat time and same bat channel next week.
Matt had something he
Oh
wanted
yeah,
to say.
don't I have that Dogman encounter I want to
We don't give a shit about
Fuck
that.
you and your dog, man.
You're out of
All
your
right,
league.
everybody, have a good evening. See you next week.
Watch out with your crotch out.